They told us war was glory, but the first thing I saw was my best friend die beside me.
I was just a boy in 1939, standing on the cobblestone street as soldiers marched past. Their boots struck like thunder. Their rifles gleamed in the sun. I swore one day I would stand among them.
At 18, I signed my name. My mother wept quietly. My father's silence was heavier than words. I boarded the train with a uniform too big for me, leaving behind everything I knew. They broke us down. Mud, sweat, shouted orders. Every weakness stripped away, every muscle forged new. We were no longer individuals. We were a unit. The day came. Orders were read aloud. Europe awaited us. Hearts pounded, but none dared show fear. The city was ash and ruin. Smoke curled into the sky. War had a smell, and I would never forget it. The day finally came. My first shot rang out. My hand shook, but I kept firing. Fear and adrenaline became one. I saw my best friend fall beside me, his laughter silenced forever. I learned that war takes faster than it gives.
That night I stared at the sky. I wondered if I would ever see home again. After that, they sent us behind enemy lines. Silence was our shield, shadows our allies. Orders came that felt wrong. We were pawns in a game too large to see. Nevertheless, we still fought, not for orders, but for each other. On that bridge, we held the line. A bullet tore through me. Pain burned, but I refused to fall.
Medic, we need a medic! Big guys down!
In a makeshift camp, the medic worked. I screamed, but I lived. Bandaged, scarred, I stared at my reflection. I was no longer the boy who left home.
Hold still! I to save you!
Sleep betrayed me. I saw faces of the fallen, reaching for me in the dark.
Still
There was no crying. That's what stayed with me. The children didn't scream for toys or sweets. They clung to the frayed hems of their mothers' coats with knuckles turned white from the cold. They moved with a mechanical, heavy-footed rhythm, the sound of 1,000 boots and bare feet dragging through the slush. Their eyes told stories worse than ours. We saw death in flashes, the crack of a sniper, the roar of an incoming shell. But they had watched their entire worlds dissolve into splinters. They carried the memory of kitchens where tea was once served, now reduced to blackened chimneys. Stare of the dispossessed. Their gaze was hollow. It was as if their souls had retreated so deep inside their bodies to hide that they couldn't quite find the way back to the surface. When they looked at us, they didn't see liberators or enemies. They saw just more men with the tools of their undoing. A wordless exchange. We offered them what we had, tins of cold rations and the last of our clean water. They took the cans with trembling hands, but no one looked at the food. They just looked through us, seeing ghosts we hadn't met yet. I tried to tell them about the sunlight, how it looks different when it's filtered through the dust of a fallen city. I tried to write, "I am safe," but the pen felt like a bayonet in my hand. How do I tell her that the boy who left for the front died months ago in a trench she'll never see? How do I explain that when I close my eyes, I don't see our porch, I see the ghosts of people I haven't even met yet? The ink runs dry before the truth does, so I fold the silence into an envelope and add it to the pile.
Despite wounds, they sent me back. The war was endless.
Like if you're enjoying the video, and subscribe to see my latest content.
The forest didn't just hide the enemy. It felt like the trees themselves were trying to kill us. One second, there was only the smell of damp pine and the sound of our own breathing. The next, the world was made of lead and splinters. There's a specific sound when the air breaks, a sharp whip crack of a bullet passing inches from your ear. It's the sound of a laugh almost ending. I watched my squad, men I'd shared bread with an hour ago, turn into shadows in the smoke. Orders were shouted, but the forest swallowed them whole. We weren't a unit anymore. We were just animals trapped in a green cage, fighting the dark for one more breath. We didn't see who was shooting. We just saw the ghosts of the woods, and they were hungry.
We saved civilians under fire. Their gratitude was silent. Their survival, our only reward. As the soldier turns to rejoin his unit, he pauses, his scarred cheek catching the firelight.
Hang on, we're almost
In
there!
the distance, through the smoke and flames, a lone silhouette watches him from the edge of the burning village. Too still, too deliberate to be another civilian. The soldier's eyes narrow for a split second. Then he shoulders his rifle and disappears into the haze with the rest of his men. The last stand.
Charge us, don't stop!
Explosions
East
shook
side,
the earth.
push forward!
We fought until the
Roll
silence
down
returned.
next! Hold the line!
The silence was louder than the explosions ever were. We had won the ground, but looking at it now, I couldn't remember why we wanted it. The earth was littered with the men I'd shared bread with only hours before. Now, they were just part of the landscape. Victory felt hollow. A prize bought with everything we had.
They told us the war was over. They told us we could go home. But they didn't tell us how to leave the ghosts behind. The medics stitched the skin. They bound the ribs. They checked the boxes and called it recovery. My body healed, turning red meat into white memory. But my mind carried wounds deeper than any blade could reach. Wounds that don't bleed, so they never quite close.
We didn't talk about the victory anymore. We just looked at the dirt. We looked at the wood. We looked at what was left. We rebuilt what little we could. Piece by broken piece, we tried to turn a graveyard back into a home. We were broken men trying to stand again. Not for glory, and not for the cause, but because standing was the only thing we had left. I spent my youth dreaming of the bugle's call. I thought war was a stage, and I was the hero waiting for my cue. That as I looked into that black water, I didn't see a hero. I didn't even see a man. I realized then, the boy who dreamed of glory, the boy who believed the world was just, he didn't survive the first trench. He died long ago, and the ghost he left behind,
is all that's left to go home.
They told me I was lucky. They told me I was going back to where everything was right. I limped back into my town. The sun was warm. The baker was working. A man was reading his paper on the exact same bench. The world was the same, but I was not. Looking at this, at how easy the peace is, it's like walking through a museum of a life I used to own. My mother
I'm here
embraced
now.
me.
It's going to be all right.
My father's silence broke into tears. I was home, yet distant. That's the end of the story of my war life.
And subscribe to see my latest content.